Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Forum BX257, here to bring you another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. And today I'll be taking a look at the Cobra Reptile trainer, the 1987 Croc Master. Now, Croc Master does not make an appearance in the 1987 G.I. Joe animated movie, so like a lot of 1987 and 1988 characters, he has no animated appearances at all. He makes his first appearance in the old Marvel comic G.I. Joe Yearbook number 4, and makes his first appearance in the regular series in issue 72. Now, I know a lot of people look at Croc Master and think, well, the guy handles crocodiles. He's very far removed from the very military feel that the G.I. Joe series seemed to have up until 1987. And on the one hand, yeah, I can agree with that. He shares a lot of weird, sort of weird design ideas with Raptor and Big Boa and Crystal Ball and all that, but I believe that they actually do have their place as specialists in the G.I. Joe universe. The one thing is that even though he isn't very well developed in the comic book, I don't believe he really needs to be. He is used as basically the Cobra equivalent of a canine officer, and he does that quite excellently in the comic book run. Another thing is that people generally don't like the way he looks, another sort of knock against him. However, I can see how aesthetically well balanced he is, unlike the other characters. And I can see why he has the following that he does, because in a lot of ways he's like Bane and Killer Croc all kind of mushed into one. And believe me, being compared to a Batman villain is a good thing. Earlier, when I compared Croc Master to the Batman villains Killer Croc and Bane, I didn't realize that the Croc Master is actually from 1987 and therefore predates Bane. One of the things I really like about his costume is that while it's unusual and very well crocodile-like, he doesn't feel like a man in a crocodile costume. He's more like a man with a crocodile motif, and because of the very nice complementary color scheme, it really works for him, where it kind of doesn't for a lot of the other characters which have these unusual specialties. I have a bit of a contention with the contents lists of the card, as several things seem to be quite odd about the list. One of them is they list this as a crocodile. Now, because of the rather width of the body and the stubbiness of the head, this is quite clearly an alligator and not a crocodile. I mean, I understand. His name is Croc Master, not Gator Master or whatever. But on his file card, it does state that he has handled both crocodiles and alligators. So why they couldn't just call this an alligator, I have no idea. It's a rather nice sculpt. Has a rather thin tail here. One thing that the crocodile / alligator comes with is what the contents list as a binder cable, which is the only thing I think it got right. Now, it has a handle, and of course, like very ornamental spikes and a buckle, which may lead you to think that this is some type of leash, but it's just too short for that. I mean, the figure would have to be sort of almost on his knees in order to grasp his hair by the handle. And as a binder cable, it makes more sense, because that would mean that this would bind this particular animal so he could be transported or put into his cage or pulled out of his cage. Croc Master comes with what the contents list as a neuro leash, and while that's a very sci-fi sounding name, this seemed to be kind of like a ordinary either lash or what I'd like to think of as a more like a prod, something that you would sort of hold out while far behind your crocodile and just sort of use the tip just to sort of smack on the nose so you can direct the crocodile or alligator. It's actually a very, very rubbery material, so you do have to watch out that the end bit isn't broken or these little twin tails at the end aren't snapped off. And finally, Croc Master comes with a tube or a hose. This is completely not on the contents list at all, so I don't know what this is actually for. It's, I mean, it connects to his mouth and to a part of his shoulder. Rather easily, but it can still pop out very easily as well. And it's something that's often missing on figures, so it's something that you have to look out for. But I'd rather think that this might be some type of oxygen mask or some type of an air filter, as he has this all over the hood as well as red eyelets, making it look like he has a completely covered head. I would think that this is something like an oxygen mask, so he could be underwater, or it could filter out the air because, of course, the environment for crocodiles and alligators might be a bit swampy, so he might not want to be breathing in swamp gas. Taking a closer look at the card art of Croc Master, you can see the hose actually plugged into the side of the mouth-mounted device, making it look even more like some type of an oxygen mask or some type of air filter. You'll also notice that he has red eyes. I believe that those are supposed to be just red coverings over his eyes so that he could adjust to low light conditions, rather like low lights, red goggles. While neither the contents list or even the file card actually gives the crocodile or / alligator a specific name, in the comic books he actually had several of these alligators, and they all had very, well, rather comically effeminate names like Catherine or Mary Ann. Well, that's all the time I have right now. Thank you for watching my video, and stay tuned for next week to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then!